Wolong Fallen Dynasty has taken Game Pass by storm since its release, with its ballet-like combat and furiously tough bosses. We've got some tips on those right here to watch later if you fancy it. But if that's made you hungry for a new challenge, then feast your eyes on this excellent collection of Xbox Soulslikes. We've saved the hardest till last too, see if you agree. With its broody dark fantasy setting and meaty high-stakes combat, Mortal Shell wears its Dark Souls influence on its armor-covered blood-stained sleeves. However, it also brings some cool flourishes of its own. You start out the game as a ghost-like creature who has to hop inside the bodies of slain warriors, allowing for you to rapidly switch up your playstyle. Plus, it will make you feel less bad about actually getting killed because, hey, that guy was dead anyway.
And talking of cool flourishes, don't forget its special unique mechanic, Bex, and that's the Harden ability. This allows you to absorb any blow with pretty much no damage at all taken, so no shield is going to be needed. Use this wisely though, or you're going to be open to the most devastating of truly devastating brutal blows, my dudes. You'll also find the enhanced edition of Mortal Shell on both Xbox and PC Game Pass, which gives the game a beautiful 60 frames per second at 40K resolution, meaning that yes, you can enjoy its delightfully dreary world with ultra high quality textures and in as high a definition as your TV could possibly handle. Sometimes though, it's important not to overthink these things, and this one has souls right there in the title, hence why I'm talking about it. Eldest Souls cuts straight to the chase by delivering a Souls-like game that's basically nothing but boss battles, if that's something you're a fan of. It puts a massive sword in your hands, an even bigger bad guy in front of you, and leaves you to it, safe in the knowledge that there are 9 more terrifying tyrants for you to take on if you should somehow make it through this first encounter alive.
And while it might look slightly different to how you imagine them, this is a Souls game in its purest form. An all-killer, no-filler action RPG that promises epic grudge matches with no waiting. And it has been optimized for Xbox Series X and S to provide you with a 60 FPS frame rate to help you fight for your life. Now, the term Souls-like might call to mind images of armored knights and old-school weaponry, but the Surge games are proof that the genre doesn't have to stay stuck in the past. Both games take place in a frightening future where the whole world has gotten royally teched up. From the rogue AIs to the murderous robots and mechanically augmented killers, pretty much everyone you encounter has been custom built to tear you limb from limb.
I mean, it sounds charming, I guess. The good news is though, you have a highly upgradable exoskeleton of your own, allowing you to engage in clattering metal on metal battles and then recycle the bits and gubbins from your fallen foes to make you even deadlier. Lords of the Fallen, however, takes us to another dark fantasy world where gods and men just do not seem to be able to get along. That old kettle of fish. Humanity's last hope rests with an immortal outcast who ventures forth into the shadows to take on armies of evil and the towering lords themselves. It's, I guess, a tall order to say the least, but if you master the game's crunchy combat system and learn how to harness the powerful magic that exists in this world, well, Bex, you might just make it.
You just can't keep a good Souls-like down, so Lords of the Fallen is going to be returning with a sequel later this year for Xbox Series X, S and PC, named The Lords of the Fallen. With all that next-gen power at its command, expect those lords to fall harder than ever if they don't get you first. Axes, swords, and warhammers are great for when you want to get medieval on your enemies, but they do sometimes leave you longing for something a bit more high caliber, which is why you'll definitely want to have Remnant from the Ashes as part of your Souls-like arsenal. In this third-person shooter, you'll be blasting your way through dynamically generated worlds where you never know what's coming next. Just that it's probably going to be something nasty.
You got nasty right, Bex, because with over 100 varieties of enemy and 20 terrifying bosses to contend with, you're going to want all the help you can get, which is why that 3-player co-op option is so dearly appreciated. So once you've got your breath and slammed in another clip, another wave is going to be on its way, with Remnant 2 expected to hit Xbox Series X, S and PC a bit later on this year. It might kind of sound like what Quasimodo would order at the Chippy, but Salt and Sanctuary is actually an action-packed 2D adventure about a sailor whose fate seems bleak after they are shipwrecked on an uncharted island. The combat here, however, is fast and brutal, but you certainly won't be empty-handed. There are over 600 different weapons, items, spells, and armor pieces for you to collect and combine until you're the toughest sailor man around, you know, since Popeye, I guess.
With its eye-catching hand-drawn art style, Salt and Sanctuary brings its own distinct flavour to the Souls-like genre, while still delivering all intense action and eerie atmosphere you can ask for. Code Vein takes place in a near future where a great calamity of some kind has left humanity fighting for survival. Desperate times call for desperate measures, so we've decided to reanimate a bunch of corpses to turn them into vampiric super soldiers known as Revenants. These are very, very desperate times, just feel like I should emphasize that.
Let me know if you need me to emphasize that more, by the way. They really truly are desperate times. Set in the sort of ruined world that Souls fans are sure to feel right at home in, Code Vein adds some anime flair to the proceedings, so expect the battles to be even more spectacular as you unleash gruesomely over-the-top attacks onto your enemies. Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Nights takes us to another fantastical realm where not only has the whole world been beset by an unspeakable disaster that leaves civilization in ruins while all manner of horrifying monsters roam the land, but I mean, it's kind of like England, folks. It's raining all the time, really all the time. Still, the game's gorgeous art style goes a long way to make up for that, turning every raindrop into little tiny pieces of art.
And while Ender Lilies stays true to the Souls-like spirit by making you face off against ginormous bosses who can end your existence with a flick of the wrist, it does even things up a little by allowing you to recruit them as allies after you've defeated them. Just imagine what we could have had if Ornstein and Smaug had been looking for a third. Next up, we're taking a trip to Paris with Steelrising. It might be the city of love, but there's no mushy stuff in this steampunk Souls-like. You play as a mechanical masterpiece fighting to save the French Revolution from King Louis and his awful automatons. It's a fun spin on history where you get to hang out with Marie Antoinette and Robespierre, but also get to watch killer robots smash each other into tiny pieces.
While the combat here has, I kind of guess, a similar rhythm of dodges and parries to other Souls-like games, the fact that you can move with the elegance of a ballet dancer while you're lopping off heads gives Steelrising a certain je ne sais quoi that you just can't find anywhere else. Though it does kind of look like the perfect thing to tide you over until similarly Renaissance-tinged Souls-like Lies of P hits Game Pass on day one of its release in August this year, folks. Write it down on the calendar. After all of these fallen kingdoms and bleak dystopias, I don't know about you, but Tunic's vibrant world makes for a nice change of scenery. But I'm so sorry, don't let the lush colours and cuddly characters fool you, no matter how nice they look in 4K on the Xbox Series X, because this game packs as mean a punch as any other Souls-like on this list so far. The combat is simple but punishing, forcing you to use the limited tools at your little fox's disposal if you don't want to find yourself losing your stuff and respawning at the last altar you found. Naturally, there are plenty of suitably humongous bosses for you to take on too.
But another thing that really makes Tunic feel like a Souls-like is how cryptic its story is. To learn about this strange world, the spiritual forces at play in it, or your own role in the tale, all you can do is piece together the clues you find scattered across the land. When you're not being brutally murdered, that is. They even had to add a no-fail mode to make it that bit easier. That's how tough some people found this game. Not me though, I've been Dark Souls. A sumptuous spin on the Souls-like genre, Tunic is available now on Xbox and PC Game Pass. Line up a few of these titles and you'll have yourself a grueling gauntlet of gaming challenges that's sure to put your skills to the test. So enjoy! Let us know about all your favourite Souls-like games down in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell. Bye!